Hi, I'm Christine from Poise for Success, and today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about training the freestyle move spin, or as some people call it, twirl. Now, I usually start to train this in one of three ways, although I will often combine these three approaches at different times along the training process. One way that I introduce this is through a food lure. Another might be an open hand target, and another might be a target stick. To start this, I start with either the food lure, or my open hand, or the ball or the end of the target stick, right at my dog's nose level. And I use either the lure, the hand target, or the target stick to draw the path of the spin. So I'm basically going to go around like this. Now, it's my preference to use the opposite hand from the direction that my dog is going to go. If I'm going to ask my dog to go clockwise, I use my right hand. So I draw the path this way, or this way with the food lure. If I'm going to have my dog go counterclockwise, I'm going to use my left hand and draw the path counterclockwise, or with the food lure, counterclockwise. It's important, especially with a dog who's new to this behavior, to keep the lure or the end of the target close to the level of the dog's nose and not to move too quickly. With a dog who's never done this before, for whom this is new, if you move too quickly, a lot of times they'll sort of fall out of the spin because they're not really sure where you're going to have them go. You can speed up pretty soon as your dog starts to get the idea of what you want him or her to do. But at first, move your hand probably a little more slowly than you think you need to. So my progression for training a spin is to start either with the lure or the target and draw the entire path, and I often will mark with a clicker as my dog is coming around to complete the spin. Later, when it's fluent and my dog is learning to spin on cue, I'll move the timing of my click to the point at which my dog commits to the behavior. But when I'm first training it, I'll click or mark with a yes or other word as the dog is completing the behavior. So the dog knows that from start to finish, he or she has done what I want him or her to learn. As a preliminary to using the target stick to teach the spin, my dog will have already learned that it's highly reinforcing to follow the target stick. So he's all ready to go. Good boy. Notice I hold the ball low as he goes around. Good boy. I'm not worried about the sit right now. That will extinguish later. Good boy. Yes. Nice. Good. Yes. Good. Yes. Good. Nice. Good boy. Good job. Yes, good boy. Nice. Good. That's very good. Yes, good job. Nice. Yes, nice. Now, how long do I lure or draw the complete path with the target stick? Until I can see my dog is comfortable with the behavior and is expecting, once the lure or target stick starts to move, the dog is expecting to actually follow through and finish the spin. Then what I'll start to do is actually reduce the lure or the target stick to about half of the circle and pull it back as the dog is completing the behavior. Here's an example. Good boy. Yes. So with a lure, I'll go about halfway, pull my hand away, mark, reward. Yes, good boy. I'll do that until my dog is comfortable. And then I'll reduce it down to just a nice big wave. And the same thing. I'll wave, pull my hand away, mark, reward. Wave with the stick, pull my hand away, mark, reward. Good boy. Yes. Good boy. Nice. Good job. Nice, nice, nice. Yes, good job. Nice. When the dog gets to the point where he or she is spinning on just the tiniest wave or the tiniest move of the target stick, then I'll start to bring in a verbal cue. Give the verbal cue, give the wave, build until my dog is actually responding to the verbal cue. Spin. Good. Spin. Spin. Yes, good job. Twirl. Twirl. Nice job. Good boy. Spin. Yes, good job. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Good boy. Spin. Yes. Good. Now the question sometimes comes up. Should I train this really well in one direction and then train the other direction later? Or should I train both directions at the same time? Really, it's a matter of your preference. When I trained my first freestyle dog, Speedy, I trained the counterclockwise spin first, and we got it really solid. And then I had a difficult time convincing him that I really wanted him to go clockwise. He was pretty sure when I started to try to get him to go clockwise that he was supposed to flip around and go counterclockwise. So since then, it has always been my preference to train both directions at the same time. I will, right in the same training session, lure the clockwise spin several times and then lure the counterclockwise spin several times. And we'll work on both in the same training session. Some people like to break it up a little bit, maybe have the dog go in one direction, work on something else, then go back and work on the other direction. Some people divide it up by maybe on one day training one direction and then on another day training the other direction. It's all good, really, whatever works for you and your dog. But I tend to do them both together. So many one way and then so many the other way. I like to kind of train it as an opposite sort of thing. Sometimes you go this way, sometimes you go that way. But again, it really is a matter of your preference and what you find works for you and your dog. Now, another question that I get about this is, should I teach my dog to spin in one position, say in front of me, and then move it to other positions? Again, it's a matter of preference. I've worked with instructors who, from the get-go, work on spins, even in the initial stages of training, off of heel and side positions. So the dog will work on the spin in front, the dog will work off the spin in heel, the dog will work on the spin in side position. I don't tend to do that. I tend to teach the behavior to full fluency in front of me and then transition to having my dog perform the spin off of heel, off of side, when we're both spinning together, on a prop, etc. So I teach the full behavior first in front of me, and then we move it to other contexts. But again, it's trainer preference here. If you would rather, from the start, have your dog working in heel and side positions, you absolutely can do that. So do you have any questions about training this behavior? or perhaps about transitioning it to different contexts, go ahead and ask in the comments below, or join the Poised for Success Freestyle Facebook group. And we'll see you in the next one.